This looks like an old right of way. Where it's sunk down. A bit of a holloway, as they call them. Look at the wild garlic, it smells. And then it's ruined by bluebells. The priory was founded in 1235 as an Augustinian nunnery, and it was dissolved by Henry VIII in 1538 during the dissolution of the monasteries. The site is surrounded by earthworks of old fish ponds dating back to the priory's prime days, and it's known for its resident ghosts. Oh, bloody kids about, what's going on? After the dissolution, it was converted to a private manor house, and then much later the site became a romantic ruin as we see today, frequented by artists and poets including William Wordsworth. Now, this is up on the earthworks. Yeah, this would have been the fish ponds it was said to be here. Gorgeous bit of nature now. There's a big bank. For anyone who wants detailed history of the priory, I would recommend Pinned on Places. They did a video recently of the site, it was very good, and it was them who introduced me to it. Today I'm more interested in the ghost stories and the possible Neolithic standing stone close by, which I'll get to at the end. Because the priory has a reputation as one of the most haunted places in Leicestershire. Now, according to one legend or story, a 16th century prioress had an illegitimate child, and when her sin was discovered, the child was sadly drowned in the nearby fish ponds, and the prioress was walled up inside the priory. Now, this ghost is not just an old legend. It's been claimed that people even today have seen the spectre of the prioress. And one account claims that a country bus, which runs along the road down one side of the haunted field at night, stopped for a white figure on more than one occasion, only to find out it was a ghost of the prioress. And an eyewitness account of the phenomenon, who was actually on the bus one evening when one of these incidents occurred. And she said the white lady was simply a softly glowing figure, like a misty column of light, not a solid figure at all, and it then floated off across the field towards the priory. And it's said in daylight this type of figure event seems to appear more as a dark column of gases or cloudy vapour. And many of the sightings share a similarity of description and specific location, tending to refer to a white or grey apparition robed with no hands or feet, hovering or gliding above ground level, and appearing on the opposite side of the road to the priory, in the vicinity of the bus stop. And it's thought to be the ghost of the prioress, who wanders the ruins searching for her lost baby. But curiously, the ruins are said to be haunted by women dressed in white but also in grey. Could there be two women haunting the ruins? Because there's also Rose de Verdon, who founded the priory and was buried before the altar in the priory chapel, with provision in her will to keep a light shining on her tomb in perpetuity. But her remains were exhumed and moved to nearby Belton Church. So was Rose's spirit disturbed when she was moved from her original resting place, and she still wanders the ruins? Now, such manifestations as I've mentioned may be rare, but may be naturally occurring phenomenon, shaped by unusual electromagnetic fields associated with fault lines, fault areas, which interfere with the normal cycles of the atmosphere. And to add to this interesting theory, it seems that the site is pretty much on a large geological fault line. Thringstone fault it's called. A feature often thought to be present where spooky lights are seen, like earth lights. Or does it open a portal into another realm? Now, expanding on this, in the other field to the west of the Priory is an ancient standing stone, which I'll show you next. Don't go in my way. It's not deep, but it's bloody wet. There she is. The ancient stone. Right, expanding on this theory, in this field across the water west of the Priory is an ancient standing stone. I suppose it suggests that this was an area of some local spiritual significance long before the Priory was founded, possibly due to the fault line, a naturally occurring phenomenon back in the midst of time. And it could be Neolithic. With a 3 foot high squat stone, it sort of leans to the south. And as you can see, it's got a nice flat side, and there's a notch in the top which aligns north-south, which may be man-made, maybe erosion, but it's interesting. Well, it's only coincidence with this being here and the Priory. Was the Priory put there because it was on the fault line, or was it because of the water that runs past it like that? Here's this rusty old lady.